Hello, so if you're new to this channel, my name is Gemma Wallace and I'm an actor. Now throughout my years so far, I've gained a lot of experience in training in combat and stunt roles. So I just wanted to share my experience with you today, what I've learned so far, and if you're curious of doing some of the things that I've done. Now, here is a little disclaimer. I'm no way a professional stunt performer, nor am I training to be one. My aim is to train in physical disciplines, for example, A, that I just love doing it and it's a massive challenge for me and I've enjoyed my experience so far training in combat type roles. And B, by gaining these experiences, it's just in hope to be considered for acting roles that require more physical disciplines and which ones that kind of state that you do need some experience prior. But I will say not all of them always state this, and a lot of the times the productions, if they're able to, they will train you, so don't worry about that. But that's just what I consider. Now that that's out of the way, let's get started on this video. Now, a bit of backstory. I've always been involved in a lot of sports, and from a young age I started to get involved in more extreme sports, as you could say, and things that include in weaponry and armoury. For example, I used to do a lot of shooting when I was in the Scouts. They were like pellets and things like that, they were never live rounds, but I gained a lot of experience through shooting from that, like target shooting, and I also done a lot of archery as well when I was younger. And also I went to a lot of medieval recreation stuff, so I was playing with like sword fighting with my brother, and also I started to do a lot of lightsaber fights when I got a bit older. And of course to this day. So fast forward to 2016 when I graduated and I found myself having a lot of free time, so I wanted to find something new to try out and gain some new experiences. So I've always been a love of like action films and especially superhero films, and after a bit of extensive research into the actors themselves and their background, I found that a lot of them already had experience in like physical disciplines, one of them especially being like gymnastics. So I thought if I'm ever to be considered for those types of roles, maybe it will help me gain in some experience in those types of fields. But also, after I graduated, I discovered the world of motion capture / performance capture and saw a lot of the performers themselves had experience again in other physical disciplines. So I thought I should gain more skills under my belt and I could be considered for more types of roles and not just acting ones. And again, that just makes me more versatile and more hopefully hireable. But personally, I already knew that I wasn't a big fan of gymnastics, especially the horse thing. Oh my god, I think everyone has like a little kind of traumatizing moment when they're younger. Mine was being on one of those horse things, still getting over it now. But I was like, okay, maybe not gymnastics for me, let's see what else I can do. And I thought, oh, I can work to my advantages, being weapons, that sort of thing. I thought, okay, let's try get into that area and try and work to my strengths. But boy, was I a little bit wrong. I underestimated how hard it kind of is. So when I first started doing my research and looking into courses, I wanted to focus in ones that had weapons. I have to admit, I was really overwhelmed by everything. Like, I didn't know where to start. There were so many courses online and I really didn't know which one was right for me. Even though I came from a stage background, I wanted to focus more in screen. But at the time, I didn't see a lot, or I clearly just missed the ones that were focused in that. So I thought, okay, let's find like a middle ground of one that is obviously more focused in stage performances, but also be able to slightly adapt to screen. So finally, after doing a lot of digging, I found the one that I wanted to join, and that was with Independent Drama, and they are based in London. The reason why I picked their courses, despite there being loads of reviews and people recommending them, I also saw that they were adapting their courses, not just stage focus, but also implementing training of how you would adapt this into screen, which I was like, yeah, this is right up my alley. I'm going to go with them. So 2018, that's where it all started for me. For my birthday, I asked for my present to be a course with Independent Drama. Now, I picked their intensive course, which was just over a week, every day, pretty much non-stop, doing their standard course, the BADC standard in Unarmed, Rapier and Dagger. So included in the intensives, you learn everything about the course, including like the history of all the weapons you're using, all the safety, going through the drills and learning the basics, and then we focused on the choreography for our final performance. I believe the performance was about 3 to 4 minutes depending on what scene you chose for the final performance. And everything that you learned throughout the course and the choreography, that's what we put into our scene. And you would work around which section works best for you, whether it would be having weapons to start with, and then you start to get disarmed and go down until you're like unarmed. And that's basically what it was for my performance. Because we had a bit of an odd number in our group, I ended up performing our scene twice with 2 different other actors. I absolutely loved this because it just meant that I was able to get more rehearsal time and learn to work with different people and how they work. ID do offer weekly classes that you can learn the exact same course, but the reason why I chose the intensive is because at that time I was living in Southampton and the travel expenses and things like that would have just cost too much for me to go down once every week. So it made sense for me to stay with my parents for the week and learn it all in one hit. But you can also do the weekly ones, which add up to the same amount of time training, just separated throughout the weeks. I would say pick whichever one's right for you and consider how you deal with stress and the pressure of learning choreography in a small amount of time. For example, I really thrive off the intensity and learning sequences in a short amount of time and drilling it back to back to back until you finally get it. After this, I definitely caught the bug of wanting to do more, and I saw that they were doing some gun training. Yes, I did get a little bit ahead of myself, and instead of signing on to the next stage of the accredited courses, I just wanted to jump on the gun ones because I was like, I know I'm pretty good at it, I might be good at it, and I just want to get stuck in. And the course was in like a couple months, so I was like, yes, let's just jump on it. So instead of going on to the next course in the intermediate and in advance, I thought, oh, I got bags of time to do those courses because your certificate doesn't expire for 3 years. And I was like, yeah, that's loads of times. Let's just do the other courses that they do and see which ones I'm good at and I really enjoy. But of course, fast forward to now, I didn't do the other ones, but I done other courses that they done and thoroughly loved them, which I'll explain a bit more now. And of course, if you try one of the courses and it wasn't really right for you, at least you done it and you got the certificate, and now you have a better idea of what you do like to do, and you can pick something that's more specific and catered to something you enjoy. So end of 2018. So I partook in both their gun courses, first starting with their civilian and law enforcement and then onto their military and tactical course. Now both of these classes are only for a day, and again within the course you learn all the basics, all the safeties, the history of the guns and what you're using, and then you start to practice the drills and pretty much do it as much as you can throughout the class. But also in the civilian and law one, you get to fire a couple like blank rounds, which was really fun, and depending on what guns they had, you can shoot some of them, so I was loving that. I really would recommend these two courses because they're both different and you learn completely different things. But it's a great place to start if you're not quite sure if you want to try guns or if you're a little bit nervous and never done it before. The day courses are absolutely perfect because it's completely safe, great place to feel comfortable and to try new things. And then if you do want to then progress and then look for further training as well to be more intensive, because you can't cover everything within a day. But whilst I was doing one of these courses, funny enough, I got the opportunity to put myself forward for a casting. It's like most courses that you go to. Once you've trained with them once, they then, if you're okay with it, keep your details on record, and then they can email you about castings that they get contacted with or ones that they're working on. So it's a great place to start on castings that you might have never heard of. But I put myself forward for one of the roles, and lucky enough, I'm pretty much like the next day, I was then confirmed, and I was then on to the rehearsal and then shooting for a music video. Now, I can't say what music video it was because it's still yet to be released, and I don't know whether they still want to release it. Even though it was a couple of years ago, I want to be safe than sorry, so I won't say what it was, but it was a role that I was able to do combat and fighting sequences, which was incredible. I absolutely loved the experience. And then I was on a mission to find more acting roles that involved combat and kind of fighting sequences within roles. And yeah, that was my focus then. Key thing, I think it is completely true when people say make sure you talk to people when you're on sets and network. Because it's a great way to learn what they're doing, what companies and productions that they've worked with or trained with, and to get personal recommendations of what they've enjoyed or haven't. And that's actually where I started to go from there and which courses I wanted to do. And the crazy thing is, Fast forward to now, I'm still in contact with some of the people that I met on that day, and actually working with one of them like this month or next month on a short film that they've directed, produced, starring in it. Literally, like, it's crazy when you think of it that I'm going to be now working with them again on an acting piece which involves weapons. It's really cool, and it's like a full circle. So always stay in contact with the people and support them as well along their journey, because it's great to see that the people that I met how many years ago are going on to better and bigger things now, and it's really cool to see their progress as well. I won't say much about the project that I'm going to be soon doing. I am recording like behind the scenes and stuff, so once that's up, I'll put up like a little vlog of our training process and how we got to the rehearsals to the actual shoots and the differences. But yeah, back to this video. Anyways, after this, I continued to try to apply myself for acting roles which involve combat and action. But I will admit it was quite hard to land any. I don't think I gained much. I think it was partly due to me not having many contacts and just maybe the luck of the productions weren't doing as much at that time, or I didn't know about them. But at the time it was really hard for me to keep up my training because, as I said, I was based in Southampton at the time and ID were based in London. And considering I only just graduated and I didn't have a lot of money, it was really hard for me to go to their drop-in classes every Sunday, every week. As much as I tried to and wish I could, just financially I just couldn't keep it up, and it was quite a big expense for me to do every week. So if I did plan to go to one of their classes, I pretty much had to try and make the most of it and do it like a weekend visit and do other things in London, whether it be meeting up with friends, family, or doing other training courses and things like that to make the most of spending the money and not just for one thing and then getting back really, really late. And yeah, I couldn't really do that and work it out quite right. But throughout this time, I was also very focused on my acting roles and not just combat and fighting type of roles, because I was also homing in on my skills on my voiceover, motion capture training as well. So it was one of those things of trying balancing the financial bit of all of these different classes and trainings and roles and finding a nice balance, really. But I did want to keep up my physical disciplines and hopefully make my fitness level a bit better. So I joined kickboxing, I joined Muay Thai, and also dabbled in a little bit of jiu-jitsu, which I wasn't very good at, but I wanted to try it because I didn't know if I liked it or not until I actually done it. Fast forward to 2019. So I moved to Staffordshire and I was determined to find a local training company that I could train with regularly and didn't have to worry about always going back into London when I wasn't there. Because for me, repetition is so key for me retaining any information and being good at it. And I didn't feel quite comfortable going on any of the jobs and saying that I could do all of this training where I haven't done it in quite a while. So this is where I came across Wirework's international stunt team. It's funny when you think about it when certain things kind of line up. So at the time I was working on this acting role and they needed another performer for like a scene in a week or two. So I posted it on Twitter for any fellow actors who would want the role. Some guy applied to it, passed it on, great, all done by. Then he looked at my spotlight on Twitter and he was like, hey, you train in physical disciplines. I think you would absolutely love training with Wirework. Of course, when it's someone who you don't know on social media, you're kind of like, oh yeah, all right then, I'll have a little look. But because I was so interested in trying to find a local training area, I thought, let's actually look into this company, do a bit of digging and see if they're legit. And funny enough, one of the women that I worked with on that music video had started training with them. So I was like, okay, that's one good thing. And once I'd done a bit of background check, I was like, this could be a great place for me to train. Let's just ask. So I thought, stuff it. Why not just reach out and ask them if I can come train with them? And I pretty much haven't looked back since. So they're based in Banbury, which was perfect because it was within like an hour or so drive from me. And they train twice a month and they pretty much cover everything within stunts. Like you name it, you got Wirework, which is my favourite. You got high falls, you got basics, unarmed, weaponry. You got falls, jerks, reactions, fire. Literally anything you can probably think of in stunts, they do it. So as much as I was a little bit intimidated thinking there's no way I can do this sort of stuff, I was very honest when I came to him saying that I am focused as an actor and I'm no way by means classed as a stunt performer, but I'm really interested in developing my skills and expand those skills to hopefully make me a better performer in screen. Again, I want to reiterate that I'm not a stunt performer, but I just have so much respect for them. Like, there's so much hard work and dedication that goes in to become a stunt performer. It's been so great training with them, like training with a group of such skilled stunt performers and who are all at different levels of experiences and such industry experience. It's been so great for me to learn directly from them, and they've encouraged me and pushed me to become a better performer myself and challenged me to do some things I thought that I could never thought I could have done. And by training in new things and continuously working on things that I'm good and not good at, it's just helped improve my skills overall and just drilling the fundamentals that I need and making me feel confident when I'm able to go on set and say, yes, I can do that. You know, that's kind of what you want, isn't it? And since I've had the pleasure of gaining some roles with the team, whether that be doubling as a stunt performer, it's just been a great experience for me, learning what it's like to be a performer like this within the industry, meeting new people, connecting. Yeah, it's just been a great opportunity to work with fellow stunt performers and coordinators, and yeah, it's been so great. I've loved every minute. And we now move on to 2020. Even though I've moved to Dartford now, I still make sure to attend the MovieWorks stunt training twice a month as much as I can. And prior to lockdown, I was also attending ID's training drills in weapons, working on those skills as much as I can, and also through other people's recommendations and seeing what people are doing, I've discovered other courses and classes that I would love to do, you know, when I can, I guess. And personally, I've picked up other sports that I can do in my spare time, like I'm still carrying on with my kickboxing, and I'm currently training in boxing, and absolutely loving the experience and learning and trying new things. For me, all of the combat and action is my sport for me to train in things that I love doing. And just in the hope that one day I might land a lead role in a Marvel movie as a superhero. Just kidding. Well, actually I'm not really kidding, but well, one can dream. But with my experience so far, I've been able to home in and to be able to continuously evaluate and consider what I'm passionate about and what my focus is. And like anything, I'm just trying to find a balance of the love and passions that I want to pursue, and just trying to find a more manageable and realistic way of approaching it all. So there's so many things that I would still love to try and do, but I will say one of the most important things when you're trying any new skill or sports that you've probably experienced yourself is so important to have a safe environment. You know, as much as it's great to get stuck in and try new things that you haven't done, you do have to consider how dangerous some of it is and how important it is to learning it in the right way and the safe way. And by having this time to train in these different areas, it's been so beneficial for me to be able to identify my own limits and to know when it's okay for me to push myself and to try something new, but then also be able to identify when it's too soon, it's too much, and it's not safe for me to just dive in and try it, because you really can injure yourself and hurt yourself. So it's so important to learn how to identify these sort of things and to feel confident and to know in yourself your abilities and if you can do something, or just being able to say, no, I'm going to take a step back, work on the drilling and the first basic level, and then slowly progress and work up on the next one. Because again, at the end of the day, it's all about your safety and how important it is to keep yourself safe. I will always say it. So if anyone who's dabbling in these types of fields, who are currently training or who have the amazing opportunity to learn on the job, never be afraid to ask questions. Like, never. Always ask questions if you're unsure. Take me, for example. I'm like the perfect person to overthink something, to get stuck in my head and to worry about every single part of the thing and just doubt myself completely and my abilities. But if I'm ever in that moment where I think, oh God, I forgot what they said, or what was that bit of choreography, I can't quite remember, instead of just going, yes, okay, I can do it, and they shout action and then you fluff it, for me it's something that I don't really want, and I don't want the risk of hurting myself or someone else. So if I'm unsure, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's in training or on set, if you're unsure, it's so important to ask the stunt coordinator or the person who you're with to go through it, or just to double check. It's so key. because it's not just about trusting yourself, it's also about trusting the other performer, that they know what they're doing and they've got your best interest at heart. But also it's about trusting the production, the stunt coordinator, the director, the producer, you name it. Whoever's on the production, is so important to feel comfortable and knowing that they have your safety and your best interests at heart, and knowing that they're there for you no matter what. As always, everyone's experience and path is different. This has just been my personal way of how I've gained my experience and got to where I am today. Like, there's so many courses and classes available out there at the moment, and there's so many amazing resources to learn and to find out what is best for you. Try not to get overwhelmed by it all like I did. Just, you know, take it all slowly. Try not to dabble in 10 different things at once, because realistically and financially, it's probably not the best thing for you. Try and home into maybe 1 or 2 areas that you would like to start in and go from there. For me, to make it all less overwhelming and confusing on what to do, I always say write a list. It is important to research on the course and see what the outcomes are of it, and if it matches with my goals, and if it doesn't, it's okay, reflect on it and learn from it, and then find one that does. So I think this video is pretty long as it is, so I'm definitely going to do a part 2 of this video and offer other suggestions of training that you could do, of which ones I recommend, or ones of fellow performers that I know that have done and who are actually doing really well in the industry at the moment. And by doing all of this, it's just in hope that it will give you better suggestions for things that you could do and try, and hopefully get you on your feet and start training in physical disciplines. And I guess, yeah, getting you on the stage or on the screen. But if you stuck around this long, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I just hope you enjoyed it and it helped you a little bit. But that's it. I'm done. I've got nothing more to say. But have a great day, evening, wherever you are. And thanks again. And it's right in the forward on... That doesn't make sense. There's so many clauses.